A child is not a special species of animal distinct from man. A child is a man or a woman who has simply not reached their full growth yet. So any law which applies to the behavior of men and women also applies to children.
Scientologists believe that children are old spirits in little bodies, that they've lived before and they're going to live again. Why is that dangerous? That's a dangerous concept because then there's no ownership. You learn that, yes, your daughter's your daughter this lifetime, but maybe she was your mother last lifetime and she might be your husband, another lifetime. So you don't really value your interpersonal relationships with your kids. There's not like that ownership of like, no, that's my kid. I will deal with my kid the way I deal with my kid. You hand your child over to Scientology, and it's just no way for a child to be raised. Scientologists believe in more than one lifetime. So what does this one lifetime mean? What does this one kid mean for eternity? That's why it's so easy for a Scientologist, Sea Org member or not, to let go of this kind of minor relationship that's like shit in comparison to what Scientology is doing. This is an example. This is a Scientologist, mind you, to their daughter. I cannot tell you how disappointed I am with the both of you. What did you think would happen to our relationship? It was great having you as a daughter this lifetime, and maybe we can pick you up in the future. Maybe we can pick you up in the future. Is that crazy? But that is what Scientologists believe.
What is the education system like in Scientology?
Scientology schools are run on Scientology technology. It doesn't matter if you're just an average Scientologist, it is all run the same way. Learn what LRH is saying exactly, apply it exactly to yourself and to your children. Your education is Scientology. You study Scientology every day, 2.5 hours minimum. If you're a child of the Sea Org, you maybe have some basic math.
Yeah, beyond reading, writing, and arithmetic, there is no value placed on formal education by Scientologists.
We didn't go to school. We did do some more little Scientology check sheets in the cadet org.
They told me that I was going to a place called Albuquerque, which was in New Mexico. And at that time, perhaps thanks in part to my Scientology education, I thought New Mexico was the capital of Mexico, and I thought Albuquerque was in Canada.
My brother and I both received child Dianetics since 2 years old, since before I could write.
What were you doing in child Dianetics? Like, what is child Dianetics?
I mean, I have little memories of it, but basically just my mom auditing us.
There was a book that was published by the church called Child Dianetics. It was a compilation of materials that Hubbard had given in lectures or in other writings of his where he talked about how to treat children. Child Dianetics then became loosely used to describe the application of Dianetics and Scientology principles to children. Scientologists send their kids to a Scientology boarding school at a very young age to become the model Scientology children, because there they will get the help of the LRH tech, and they will be with like-minded children from other Scientology families and won't have outside influences on them.
We were left home alone with strangers.
At 5.
And learned things that we shouldn't learn.
Like what?
Sexual stuff.
We were adults and minors mixed in together, and we were all paired up, even with adults, to be our therapist and we be their therapist. We weren't ever really viewed as children because our spiritual age was what was considered our real age. So they disassociate you with the idea that, you know, your body and your age has a meaning. I was given a guy that had been assigned to the program because he was a pedophile. He had been molesting girls, and he was supposed to be my therapist, and I was supposed to be his therapist in order to rehabilitate ourselves. A lot of the sessions were, you know, 4 or 5 hours of him telling me that he had raped me in another life, and I had to find out all the details of how he supposedly raped me in that other life. How did you rape me? Where did you put me? How did you tie me down? I never really understood that it was abuse at the time. I didn't have an adult to say, this is inappropriate. And all the adults that were there were saying, this is okay because this is L. Ron Hubbard. No one would question the complete and horrendous inappropriateness of the practices. Nobody ever said, hey, why is this being done like this?
L. Ron Hubbard wrote specific policies for the Sea Organization that dictate children are treated identically to adults. There is no difference on what is expected of them or how they are treated in whether they accomplish what's expected of them.
He believed young children were adults in small bodies and they had to be treated like adults.
The kids were just on post, right? They were just Sea Org members.
They were treated the same as every other crew member, assigned dirty jobs, hard jobs, menial tasks, punishments, just the same. They didn't go to school. They weren't schooled on board the ship. There was no schooling, which I found deplorable. There was no family culture. There was none of that.
This is the mindset. You are not a child. You are a Sea Org member. Christy, you know, my children were there. I put them there. And I didn't think that there was something wrong with that. I had 2 children born into the Sea Organization. They were little Sea Org members, and they were always destined to be grown-up Sea Org members. In the Sea Org, the relationship between a parent and their children is virtually non-existent.
So we arrive, again, we're thrust into the cadethood. My mother goes wherever, and we're working again full-time. We just cleaned all the time, really.
Life in the Sea Org was long days and little reward. You got paid, if you're lucky, $50 a week. You're working from the moment you wake up, from 8 to 9 till sometimes I was up until 4 or 5 a.m. And that's when I'm a minor. I was a minor the entire time I was there, from the ages of 12 to 17.
When I was probably about 8, 9 years old, we were sent to build the road, which is called L. Ron Hubbard Way. So we actually put all the bricks in that you see on that street. That's one example of a mission.
The pack ranch was very military-esque. Talk back, you do push-ups or run around the entire ranch area, you know, up to 10 laps sometimes in the hot, blistering sun.
There was a lot more pressure to have responsibilities in positions for the first time.
We became our own kind of running, governing system.
Yeah.
Right.
The people that made our food, our friends.
Yeah.
The pack ranch was a lot like Lord of the Flies. I mean, we had our own, what's called an organization board. So we had our, you know, head person in charge, the commanding officer, and then you have the different divisions. Everyone has different jobs and you have to do your job. It's mandatory.
We built like pathways around the dormitories. We stacked up rocks or sort of cleared the sides of hills or cleared the ground for, like, did fire breaks, that sort of thing.
As kids, we were doing a lot of the work that, you know, the staff honestly should have been doing.
Tell us a bit about these fundraising practices.
I was in the fundraising office quite often, and I would see all the different types of books that they would study on how to fundraise. So they knew all the standard techniques. And what seemed to work the best for Scientology fundraising was these crazy themed events. you know, where it's Pirate Week or whatever they could come up with. So people are already in kind of a wild and crazy mood when they go in.
They put on all these shows. We're doing a pirate theme, and then we're doing a Star Wars theme, and then we're gonna do a Wizard of Oz theme, like, and all these things. It's all supposed to be like, we're making it a game. And yes, sell your house, and yay, yeah, mortgage it, and hey, go broke, and like, it's all this craziness, and then on top of all of this, they have the audacity to use children, like they know no bounds. I gotta read you something, okay? This is an actual, like, directive of how to fundraise for Scientology. Occasionally, children in the audience will want to participate and will donate their piggy banks or allowance. People love this, so back it up wholeheartedly. So, the Church of Scientology needs children's money from their piggy banks to open these ideal orgs for Scientology.
I get lots of credit for helping raise over £2,500 for Birmingham Org's new building. The org is going to be enormous.
Our job as parents is to protect our children the best that we can, and when, God forbid, something happens to them, that we take a stand against those actions and those people that hurt our children. Your mother stopped being a parent when she became a Scientologist.
True, absolutely.
That has not changed. That will not change.
And I'm still trying to figure out how to, I'm sorry. You know, just be okay. That stuff didn't, that what happened to me wasn't all of my fault.
Well, none of it was your fault. You were children. Both of you. All of you there were children, and you were victims.
It's really hard emotionally, and yeah. So.
These Scientology parents are sending the message to their children, Scientology is everything.
But the fact is, you're punishing children.
What they're doing is destroying families and robbing them of everything.
Mike, I'm getting angrier and angrier. As a parishioner of Scientology, I went in, I spent all my money, I donated all my money, I gave all of my time. Did I have any idea that this shit was going on with children? No.
It is upsetting.
I know. I know.
We're doing our best to do something about it.
We are acknowledging a group of people that have gone unacknowledged for so long. And they never once got, and they will never get, from the Church of Scientology, we are sorry. We are sorry.
Yeah.
That happened.
It's like, what the were we part of?